Well, CBS Sports with a fantasy football article, interesting for us here because Tony Romo is a part of it. They talk about the 4 oldest quarterbacks in the NFL, the so-called over-the-hill quarterbacks. Is he still capable of putting up a big season, I think is really the question. And I don't know if he is. I think he's still very capable of putting together a winning season, but a winning season and a big statistical season, not necessarily the same thing. The headline here on CBS Sports, 2016 Fantasy Football Draft Prep Over-the-Hill Quarterbacks. And they take a look at all the quarterbacks here that essentially amount to 36 or older. Eli Manning, I guess, just misses out on it being 35. And they say you shouldn't rule out the older quarterbacks because some of them can still put up huge numbers. And in recent years, older quarterbacks have been quite good. Of the 10 best seasons for a quarterback aged 35 or older, 8 have happened in the past 4 seasons. So what do you think that is? It's becoming more of a passing-friendly league, and quarterbacks are staying around longer because there's huge money available and because, sports medicine is better. That's what I think.
I also think there's a lot of systems that you get rid of the ball quickly. I mean, Tom Brady and I know Peyton Manning's career's over now, so he's not on the list. But a lot of their offense the last 5 years has been snap, look, get rid. And that's it. I mean, and so if you can do that, you don't have to have the greatest offensive line. If you can just get rid of the ball, and if you don't see it, it's not there, those guys would just get rid of it and take an incomplete pass and move on.
Man, that's something I'd love to see Tony Romo figure out. I mean, for all the great things that he's done, I think it worked for him earlier in his career because he could improvise and stay on the run and make plays with his legs. And then, 12 seconds after the ball was snapped, throw a bomb, and it still happens, and it's beautiful when it does. But I just think with the injury history now, if I was in Valley Ranch, I'd be wanting to talk about things we could do to get the ball out quicker. Obviously running is going to take a lot of the pressure off of him, but in passing situations, I think, do you have to have the receiving core to do that? You have to have guys that can really explode after the catch, and Dez can, and Terrence Williams can.
Even though, who did New England have? They have their Cole Beasley. I know Edelman's better than Beasley, and then they have Gronk. But from that point, he's. Yeah. I wouldn't want Amendola on this team. I wouldn't think he helps this team at all.
No, I wouldn't think he'd help either.
I think on the other end of the spectrum, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming into the NFL that aren't prepared, and so these older quarterbacks, they last longer because you got to win now. There's coaches' jobs on the line. Owners want their teams to win immediately. And so you got guys who are like air raid or read option quarterbacks coming into the league. They're not prepared. They don't know the NFL game the way maybe a 33-year-old, 34-year-old quarterback would, and thus that guy's going to keep a job.
Yeah. Yeah, the college quarterbacks are less ready than ever.
They're less ready because it's a different game in college football.
No, you're right. That's a good point. So CBS Sports here, they gave thoughts on all of them. From a fantasy perspective, they say Brady's fine, second-best fantasy quarterback last year he was at 38 or so. And there's really been no signs of injury or much of a decline really over the last 6 years since the torn ACL. They say Carson Palmer is fine because he set career highs in a lot of his stats last year. Great weapons. No worries on picking him, although you do have to be kind of concerned with injury. And then they say Drew Brees is still a great pick. And then they get to Tony Romo, and I'll read what they said about Tony. He's the youngest quarterback on the list, but there's little doubt he's also the riskiest. Tony Romo has broken his collarbone. The year before that, he suffered a herniated disc, while Romo has the lowest ADP in his class. Sorry, is that an advanced stat or some sort of fantasy football stat? He also clearly has the highest injury risk of any quarterback drafted amongst the top 10 quarterbacks. With Dez Bryant as his only dangerous weapon in the passing game and an offense built around running the ball, I would have to say no. Tony Romo has basically been Matt Ryan over the past 5 seasons with more injuries. Romo is in a tier of quarterbacks that border on a startable number 1. The problem is you have to take him 1 to 5 rounds higher than the other quarterbacks in the tier. I'd rather draft upside running backs and wide receivers and then take Matt Ryan later in the draft. Yeah, and I obviously we'd love to believe that Tony Romo is prolific. I think he could still be. But he makes a great point about Dez Bryant being the only great weapon that he has that he can go to and know that, a touchdown is possible. And then, the age, the injuries. I think from a fantasy perspective, I don't think I'd want to touch him right now. And he's been one of the best fantasy quarterbacks in the NFL over the last decade.
Yeah, I would say with him, the reason that I just don't think he can, even if the Cowboys go 12-4, that he really won't get consideration for MVP is his numbers will be low. This is a team out of the other three guys you named. They like to get up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball. They want as many plays as possible in an NFL football game because they believe a lot of times our team is better than your team or our quarterback is better than your quarterback. Yeah, the Cowboys can believe our quarterback's better than your quarterback, but our defense is arguably the worst in the NFL. And so they have to run the clock down to 3, 2, 1, snap, hand the ball off. 6 yards, hopefully. 3, 2, 1, snap. Throw the ball to Beasley. We got a 6-yard game. First down. Great. Run the clock down again. Like, you can't accrue good numbers when you're just trying to run down the play clock every time you snap the football. And then we're one of the few teams left in the NFL that says we need to run the ball 50% of the time or more because our quarterback is so fragile that if he does take 4 or 5 hits a game, it could be the hit that ends his career, ends his season.
By the way, Gavin, G-Bag Nationals got you back on this. They said that ADP term stands for average draft position, and that's a fantasy term.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I really think the Cowboys missed an opportunity in the draft to take Sterling Shepard or Michael Thomas from Ohio State and give the kind of weapon, whether it be massive speed or great route running and traditional wide receiver skills, as in the case of Shepard. I think that's going to be one they'll regret.
I hope we're so wrong on that, because if we're so wrong, that means Jalen Smith is an awesome player 2-3 years down the road. But, God, it just looks horrible right now.
Yeah, I mean, they probably looked at it like, man, we have to start rebuilding this defense, and we took offense with the first pick. But, even if you wanted to do that, the UCLA linebacker who's been fully active in the Jaguars, I mean, if you
Miles Jack.
Yeah, Miles Jack. What did I say, Jack Miles? Like that?
No, you didn't say his name at all.
Oh, okay.
You go.
Yeah, if you want to take defense, I think that's fine, and I totally get it. But, if you're going to fault one or the other, I would rather have a guy that is going to play now and could get hurt down the road, might need microfracture down the road, than a guy that can't play now. Hopefully, Tony can make it 4 more years. I think 2 is fair. And that's what I'd be planning and building around. So I look at it like, man, we for sure have 2 more good chances with Tony Romo. Let's not do anything to screw that up. And let's do everything we can to maximize. But between that pick and how they essentially sat out free agency again, I don't know that they're in go for it mode. To me, it looks like, well, let's make sure we never get too bad mode. We're going to be pretty good and relevant and competitive as long as Tony Romo is here. And I don't know, maybe that is the best way to go about things. Let's just make sure we're never bad, because in this NFL, if you're just average or pretty good, you can win the Super Bowl. So if we just hang out and make sure we don't do anything that's going to slit our throat in the future, to make sure we don't go through those 3 in a row 5-11 seasons again, then that's what's going to give us, number one, the best business platform, the best PR marketing platform for the star, and it'll give us a chance eventually. Things will fall into our lap as long as we can stay in the mix year in and year out. I don't know. I'm more of a gambler. I like taking risks. I like the feeling of going all in, and NFL teams do it 2 different ways. But, for me, I would have a really hard time looking around the room and saying, you kidding me? We're going into a year, one of Tony Romo's final 2, with 1 wide receiver that can really dominate. And that's it for our passing game. We love Jason Witten and everything he's done, but he's a limited player. And Cole Beasley is great on 3rd and 2, but on 3rd and 7 and longer, you're not gonna want to throw him the ball, because if the chances of him beating multiple players and making a play just aren't as good. So to me, if I was in that place, I'd say, guys, we really screwed up this offseason. Is that too strong? Is that too strong a criticism?
And they tell you, Jerry, sit over in that corner. We got this, man. Jerry, don't be rushing
Go home, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm with you, too. I wish they had gotten Sterling Shepard, and I wish they would have been more aggressive. because, again, Jalen Smith may work out, but come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, it was good enough for the Giants, and Eli Manning is a year younger and has 2 Super Bowls already.